Weeks passed after the court decision, and peace began to return to the quiet edges of Maple Creek. The tension that had once filled the air was slowly fading. Children played near the sidewalks again, neighbors chatted by their gardens, and even the birds seemed to sing louder. For Ravi, it felt like the storm had finally ended. He spent his mornings tending to his garden, repairing old fences, and painting his porch. The land looked brighter now, almost as if it was proud to belong to someone who cared for it. One afternoon, Ravi was sitting on his porch, sipping tea and enjoying the sunset, when he saw a familiar figure walking down the road. It was Tom. He waved cheerfully and called out, "Mind if I come up for a bit?" Ravi smiled. "Of course not. Come on in." Tom walked up the path and looked around. "Your place looks great." "You've done some nice work here." Ravi nodded. It needed a little fixing after all that trouble. "But it feels good now." Tom sat on the wooden bench beside him. "You know, things have changed in the neighborhood since that day in court. The new HOA president is trying to make peace with everyone. They've even started holding community events again." Ravi looked pleased. "That's good to hear. The people there are not bad. They just followed someone who refused to listen." Tom gave a small laugh. "You're right. Karen's name is not popular anymore. After she resigned, she tried to start a petition to take the HOA funds back, but no one signed it." Ravi looked toward the neighborhood where rows of houses stood quietly. "I never wanted to embarrass her," he said softly. "I only wanted my peace." Tom nodded. "I know. But sometimes people need to be reminded that ownership isn't about control. It's about respect." As they spoke, an elderly man from the neighborhood stopped by the edge of Ravi's driveway. He waved politely. "Good evening, Mr. Singh. I just wanted to say congratulations. I didn't believe you at first, but you were right." Ravi smiled. "Thank you. I appreciate that," the man chuckled. "Karen made us all think we knew better, but the truth has its way of showing itself." He waved again and walked back down the road. Tom grinned. "See, everyone's realizing it now." That night, when Tom left, Ravi sat quietly for a long time. The stars shone above the dark trees, and the soft sound of crickets filled the air. He thought about everything that had happened, the shouting, the meetings, the fence, and finally the court. All of it had started because one person refused to listen. But in the end, the truth had spoken louder than all of them. The next morning, Ravi received a letter from the county office. It was a notice confirming that his property had been officially marked with new boundary posts and updated in the records. The letter also stated that the HOA had completed the removal of all their structures from his land. Ravi folded the paper and smiled. "It's finally over," he whispered. But something unexpected happened a few days later. A small group of HOA members came to visit him. They stood nervously near his gate, holding a basket of fruits and flowers. The woman in front stepped forward and said, "Mr. Singh, we wanted to apologize. We didn't support what Karen did, but we didn't speak up either. We know you went through a lot because of us." Ravi looked at them kindly. "You don't need to apologize. Everyone makes mistakes. I just hope we can all live peacefully now." The woman smiled. "We'd like to invite you to our next community event. It's a neighborhood fair, and we'd love for you to join us. You don't have to be part of the HOA to be part of the community." Ravi hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I'll come. Thank you." When the day of the fair arrived, Ravi walked into Maple Creek for the first time since the court case. The park that had once been built partly on his land was now shifted within the right boundary. Children were running around, playing games, and the smell of grilled food filled the air. Several people greeted him warmly. Some even offered him food and drinks. Tom waved from a table near the corner. "You made it," Ravi smiled. "I couldn't say no. It looks wonderful." Tom handed him a cold drink. "This is what it should have been from the start. Neighbors, not enemies." As they spoke, a woman slowly approached them. Ravi turned and recognized her immediately. It was Karen. She looked tired, her confident posture gone. She stopped a few feet away and said quietly, "Ravi, can I talk to you for a minute?" Tom gave Ravi a questioning look, but Ravi nodded. "Sure." Karen took a deep breath. "I wanted to say I'm sorry. I was wrong. I let my pride control me. I thought I was protecting the community, but I ended up hurting everyone, including you." Ravi looked at her for a moment, then said gently, "You were trying to do what you thought was right. But sometimes doing what's right means listening first." Karen nodded slowly. "You're a better person than I am for not holding a grudge." "I don't need to," Ravi replied. The past is finished. We all learned something from it. Karen gave a small smile. Thank you. I hope we can all move forward. She turned and walked away quietly. Ravi watched her go, feeling no anger, only peace. As the evening went on, Ravi helped the kids with their games and even joined a few families for dinner. The laughter and chatter filled the air like music. For the first time in a long while, the neighborhood felt united again. Later that night, when the fair ended, Ravi walked back to his farmhouse. The path glowed faintly under the moonlight. When he reached his porch, he looked back toward Maple Creek. The sounds of the fair still echoed faintly in the distance. He sat down, feeling grateful. He thought about how easily misunderstandings can turn into wars when pride takes control. He had never wanted to fight, but sometimes standing firm was the only way to protect peace. His land wasn't just soil and grass, it was a reminder that truth could not be taken by noise or power. As days turned into weeks, life settled into a quiet rhythm again. The HOA repaired its reputation under new leadership. Tom often visited, sometimes helping Ravi with small projects. Kids from the neighborhood started coming by to play with Ravi's dog near the oak tree. One sunny morning, the new HOA president, a kind woman named Lila, visited Ravi with a document. We wanted to give you this, she said. It's a written statement from the HOA recognizing you as a respected member of our community. You're not under our association, but you're part of our neighborhood. Ravi smiled warmly. Thank you, Lila. That means a lot. She nodded. It's the least we can do after everything. After she left, Ravi placed the paper in his drawer beside his old land documents. It felt symbolic, past and present side by side, finally in harmony. That evening, the sky turned orange as the sun began to set. Ravi walked to the edge of his land and stood beside the oak tree that had witnessed everything. The gentle wind moved through its branches and the leaves shimmered in the fading light. He placed his hand on the tree trunk and said softly, "We did it. They finally understand." His dog barked happily nearby, chasing after a butterfly. Ravi smiled and looked at the open field stretching before him. The fight was over, but what remained was stronger than any victory, a sense of peace earned through patience and truth. As the last rays of sunlight disappeared behind the houses, Ravi sat on his porch one final time. The land that had once been a battlefield of pride and misunderstanding was now silent, calm, and proud. The story of the man who stood his ground had spread through Maple Creek, reminding everyone that real strength came not from power, but from standing quietly for what was right. And from that day on, whenever someone new moved into the neighborhood, the old residents would tell them the story of the man who owned the land under their homes and how his courage taught them all the true meaning of respect. In a quiet corner of the city stood a small diner named Sunny Plate. It was not a fancy place, but it had a warm feeling that made everyone feel welcome. The smell of fresh coffee, warm bread, and sizzling eggs always filled the air. People from nearby offices, schools, and homes came every morning to start their day there. Among the staff was a woman named Maria, a kind and hard-working waitress who had been serving in the diner for 5 years. Maria came to the diner every morning before sunrise. She tied her apron, checked the tables, and made sure every customer got a smile with their meal. Life had not been easy for her. She lived in a small rented room and worked long hours to pay her bills. Still, she never complained. Her heart was big, and she always believed that kindness could make life better for everyone. Every day, Maria noticed a young girl sitting outside the diner. The girl was around 12 years old and always sat in a wheelchair. Her name was Anna. She had a small blanket over her legs and always carried a worn-out sketchbook. Anna used to wait quietly near the window, watching people eat. Her eyes often followed the plates of food that went by, but she never asked for anything. One cold morning, Maria saw Anna again near the window. The girl's face looked pale and her small hands were shaking. Maria felt a strong pull in her heart. During her break, she took a plate of pancakes and a cup of warm milk and went outside. She smiled and placed the plate in front of Anna. "You look hungry. Please eat this before it gets cold," Maria said kindly. Anna looked surprised. Her eyes filled with tears, but she quickly wiped them. "Thank you, ma'am. But I don't have money to pay you." Maria shook her head. "Don't worry about that. I just want you to have a meal." That was the first day Maria fed her. Anna ate slowly, savoring every bite. After that, Maria noticed her outside every day. Sometimes she would bring her soup, other times a sandwich or fruit. The girl always thanked her with a shy smile. Soon they began to talk a little. Maria learned that Anna had lost her parents in a car accident 2 years ago. Since then, she had been living in a small shelter home. The home had limited food, and the wheelchair she used was old and sometimes got stuck. Anna often came to the diner to draw pictures of people, hoping one day to become an artist. Maria admired her courage. Even though she had faced so much pain, Anna never lost her smile. Maria started saving small coins from her tips to buy better food for the girl. She even started keeping a chair ready near the window for Anna whenever she came by. The regular customers noticed Maria's kindness. Some smiled when they saw her sharing food with the little girl, but not everyone was kind. The manager of the diner, Mr. Lewis, was a strict man. He often complained about giving away free food. "Maria, this is not a charity. You can't keep feeding people for free. We are running a business," he said one evening while checking the bills. Maria lowered her eyes. "I know, sir, but she is just a child. She can't walk and doesn't have parents. I can pay for her food from my own tips." Mr. Lewis sighed but did not stop her completely. Deep inside, he knew Maria was a good person. That night, after the diner closed, Maria walked home under the streetlights. She thought about Anna and how unfair life was. She herself had no family, no savings, and no future plan, but at least she could help someone who needed love and care. The next day, the same routine continued. Maria served customers, carried trays, cleaned tables, and smiled at everyone. Around noon, Anna appeared again. Maria noticed that her wheelchair's left wheel was bent. The girl looked tired. "What happened, Anna?" Maria asked while bringing her a small bowl of soup. "The wheel broke yesterday. I had to push hard to come here," Anna said softly. Maria knelt beside her. "You shouldn't push yourself so much. I'll try to find someone who can fix it." Anna smiled weakly. "Thank you, Maria. You're the only person who cares for me." Those words touched Maria deeply. She didn't say anything, but her eyes became wet. She had never been called someone's only hope before. That afternoon, an old man entered the diner. He wore a simple gray suit and walked slowly with a cane. His face had lines that showed both age and experience. He took a seat near the window and ordered coffee. As he waited, his eyes noticed Maria and the little girl outside. He watched Maria kneel down, feed the child, and speak to her with kindness. Something in that moment caught his attention. When Maria came to serve his coffee, he asked quietly, "Who is that little girl you were helping?" Maria looked surprised but answered honestly, "Her name is Anna. She comes here every day. She lost her parents and lives in a shelter. I just try to help her with some food." The old man nodded slowly and smiled. "You have a good heart, young lady. Not everyone would do that." Maria smiled politely but didn't think much of it. She didn't know that the man who sat in front of her was not just any old customer. He was Mr. Raymond Hale, one of the most respected businessmen in the city, a billionaire who had built hospitals, schools, and charities for the poor. He stayed in the diner for some time, watching how Maria treated every customer with respect and kindness, no matter how rich or poor they were. She didn't know she was being observed by someone whose decision would soon change her life forever. When he finished his coffee, Mr. Raymond left a generous tip and quietly walked out. But before he went, he looked again at Maria and the little girl, smiling softly as if he already had a plan forming in his mind. That night, Maria walked home as usual. She had no idea that the kind act she did for the little girl would soon reach the heart of a man with great power, and in just 24 hours, everything in her life would begin to change in ways she could never imagine. The next morning would bring something she never expected. The next morning began like any other for Maria. The sun had just risen and the streets were still quiet. She walked toward the diner with her usual smile, though her body was tired from long hours of work. Inside the diner, she put on her apron and started arranging the tables. She always wanted everything to look clean and welcoming before the first customer walked in. As she brewed the first pot of coffee, her thoughts wandered to Anna. She hoped the girl's wheelchair was fixed or at least working better than yesterday. She decided to buy her a sandwich and a cup of milk again when the girl arrived. Maria's salary was small, but she always found a way to help. Meanwhile, in a tall glass building across the city, Mr. Raymond Hale sat in his office. He was a man known for his success and wealth, but very few knew the real reason behind his deep concern for others. Years ago, his own daughter had died in an accident. She was around the same age as Anna. Since that day, his heart had carried a quiet sadness. He had spent his life building charities and hospitals to help people in need, but he still felt something was missing. The image of the kind waitress feeding the little girl stayed in his mind all night. He could not forget the look in Maria's eyes when she bent down to talk to the child. It was not pity, but real care. He had seen many people give charity for show, but this woman had given kindness from her heart. He decided he wanted to know more about her and the girl. "Peter," he called to his assistant, a man in his 30s who was standing near the door, "find out about the woman who works at the Sunny Plate Diner on Elm Street. Her name is Maria. Also, find information about the little disabled girl she feeds every day." Peter nodded. "Yes, sir. I'll have the details by afternoon." Back at the diner, the morning rush began. Customers filled the tables, and Maria moved quickly from one end to the other, balancing trays with ease. She greeted every customer with warmth and never let her tiredness show. Around noon, she saw Anna at the window again. The girl waved weakly, and Maria's face lit up. "Good to see you, Anna," she said cheerfully as she placed a plate of eggs and toast on a small table near the door. "Come sit here today. It's warm inside." Anna hesitated for a moment, afraid of being scolded by the manager, but Maria encouraged her gently. "Don't worry. You're my guest." The girl slowly wheeled herself inside, and Maria helped her settle by the window. Anna's eyes sparkled as she looked around. It was the first time she had eaten inside the diner. She felt safe and happy. "You are very kind, Maria," Anna said between small bites. "No one has ever treated me like this." Maria smiled. "You deserve kindness, Anna. Everyone does." While they spoke, a man entered quietly and took a seat at the far end. He was Peter, Mr. Hale's assistant, but Maria didn't know that. He ordered a cup of coffee and watched the two from a distance. He saw how Maria took time to talk to the child even while serving other customers. She moved with grace and spoke with patience. After an hour, Peter left the diner and returned to the Hale Tower with a full report. "Sir," he said as he entered Mr. Hale's office, "the woman's name is Maria Thompson. She's been working at Sunny Plate Diner for 5 years, lives alone in a rented apartment nearby. People say she's very kind but struggles financially. The girl's name is Anna Brooks. She lost her parents in a car accident 2 years ago and lives in a shelter home run by the city. Her wheelchair is old and often breaks." Mr. Hale nodded slowly, thinking deeply. "Thank you, Peter. Prepare the car. We're going to the diner this afternoon." By late afternoon, Maria was cleaning a table when a black car stopped outside. The door opened and Mr. Hale stepped out. The customers turned their heads to see the tall man in a dark suit walking in with calm confidence. Maria recognized him instantly as the man who had been there the previous day. "Good afternoon, sir," she said politely. "Would you like your usual coffee?" He smiled. "Not today. I came to see you." Maria looked surprised. "Me?" "Yes," he said kindly. "May I sit?" She nodded and guided him to a table. Anna watched from her corner with curiosity. Mr. Hale looked at Maria with gentle eyes. "I saw what you did yesterday. You helped that little girl with food and kindness when no one else cared. Tell me, why do you do it?" Maria looked down at her hands. "Because she reminds me of myself. I know what it feels like to be alone and hungry. I don't have much, but I can share a meal. That's all I can do." Her words were simple, but they carried truth and warmth. Mr. Hale smiled again. "You have a rare heart, Maria. I believe people like you make this world a better place." Before she could reply, Mr. Hale asked, "Would you mind if I spoke to the little girl for a moment?" Maria nodded and brought Anna closer. The billionaire looked at the child with care. "Hello, Anna. I heard you love drawing." Anna nodded shyly. "Yes, sir. I want to be an artist someday." Mr. Hale smiled. "That's a wonderful dream. And dreams should never die because of pain or poverty." He turned to Maria and said softly, "You have been an angel to this child." "Let me do something for both of you." Maria was confused. "Sir, I don't understand." Mr. Hale stood up and looked at them both. "You will understand soon. I want you to come with Anna to my office tomorrow morning. Can you do that?" Maria hesitated, feeling unsure. "Sir, I have work tomorrow." Mr. Hale nodded. "I will speak to your manager. Please just come." After he left, Maria stood there for a long time, wondering what he meant. The manager, Mr. Lewis, came over soon after. "Do you know who that man was?" he asked in disbelief. "That's Raymond Hale, one of the richest men in the city. He owns hospitals and charities. Why did he want to see you?" Maria shook her head slowly. "I don't know. He just asked me to meet him tomorrow." That night, Maria could hardly sleep. She kept thinking about Mr. Hale's words. What did he plan to do? Would he help Anna? Would he offer her some kind of charity? She was nervous but also hopeful. The next morning she woke up early and wore her cleanest dress. She helped Anna into a taxi and together they went to the tall glass building where Mr. Hale's office was located. The security guards guided them to the top floor. When they entered the office, Mr. Hale was already waiting with a warm smile. Welcome, Maria. Welcome, Anna. Please sit down. Maria sat quietly, holding Anna's hand. The large office was filled with sunlight and expensive furniture, but Mr. Hale's voice was calm and kind. I asked you here because I want to change your lives, he said slowly. Maria's eyes widened in shock. Change our lives? She repeated softly. Mr. Hale nodded. Yes, you showed kindness without expecting anything in return. And that kind of heart deserves a better life. I have something special planned for both of you. Maria felt her heart pound. She looked at Anna, who was staring with wide eyes full of hope. Neither of them knew what was coming next, but they could feel that something great was about to happen. Maria sat nervously in the large office as sunlight fell through the tall glass windows. Her hands trembled slightly and she tried to hide it by holding Anna's hand. The room was quiet except for the soft ticking of a clock on the wall. She had never been inside such a place before. Everything looked so grand, from the marble floor to the polished wooden desk. Mr. Raymond Hale sat across from her, his kind eyes calm but serious. Maria, he said in a gentle tone, you may not realize it, but what you did for that little girl has touched many hearts. I saw how you fed her every day, even when it cost you your own comfort. People like you are rare. Maria lowered her eyes. Sir, I didn't do anything special. She needed food. I just helped, Mr. Hale smiled. That is exactly what makes it special. True kindness expects nothing in return. He stood and walked toward the window, looking down at the busy city below. I have spent most of my life earning money. I built companies, hospitals, and schools, but when I saw you helping that girl, I realized something important. Money can build walls and machines, but only kindness can build hearts. You reminded me of that. He turned back toward her. So I want to make you an offer. Maria's eyes widened slightly. An offer, sir? Yes, Mr. Hale said. First, I want to help Anna. She deserves a better life. I will arrange for her to be treated at the best hospital in the city. I will buy her a new wheelchair and pay for her education. She will never go hungry again. Anna's eyes filled with tears. Really, sir? You mean I can go to school? Mr. Hale nodded warmly. Yes, my dear. You can study, draw, and live your dream. Maria looked at him with deep gratitude. Thank you, sir. You have no idea what this means to her. Mr. Hale raised his hand slightly. There's more. I also want to help you, Maria. You have been working hard for years, but you deserve a chance to grow. I want to offer you a new job. Maria was silent, unsure what to say. A job, sir? Yes, he continued. I want you to manage a new charity program I am starting. It will focus on helping poor children and people in need. I need someone honest, hardworking, and kind to lead it. And I believe you are the perfect person for that role. Maria's heart started to race. Sir, I don't think I'm qualified for such a big responsibility. I've only worked as a waitress, Mr. Hale smiled patiently. You are qualified because you care. Skills can be learned, but kindness cannot be taught. My team will train you. You only need to bring your heart. Tears filled Maria's eyes. She could not believe what she was hearing. Her entire life she had struggled just to survive. Now this man was offering her a chance to do something meaningful. Sir, she whispered, I don't know how to thank you. Mr. Hale shook his head. You already did, Maria. The day you helped that girl without expecting anything. Anna squeezed Maria's hand, her eyes shining. Maria, this is like a dream. You always told me that good things happen to good people. Maria smiled, still fighting back her tears. Yes, Anna, and today you see it happening. Mr. Hale walked closer and handed Maria an envelope. Inside this is a letter of appointment and an advance payment. It will help you settle your bills and move into a better home. I want you to rest for a few days before starting the job. Maria hesitated before taking the envelope. Sir, I can't accept so much, he smiled. You're not accepting it for yourself. You're accepting it for all the people you will help in the future. Maria slowly nodded. She knew this was a chance she could not refuse. After leaving the office, Maria and Anna stepped into the sunlight outside the building. The world looked brighter and everything seemed new. Anna looked up at Maria. Do you think this is real? Maria smiled and hugged her. Yes, Anna, it's real. Sometimes life surprises us when we least expect it. That evening, Maria returned to the diner to collect her things. The smell of coffee and bread filled the air like always. Her co-workers looked at her curiously as she walked in with a soft smile. Mr. Lewis, the manager, came forward. Maria, where were you this morning? The customers missed you. Maria took a deep breath. Sir, I came to say goodbye. He looked surprised. Goodbye? Are you leaving us? Yes, sir, she said. Mr. Raymond Hale offered me a new job. I'll be managing one of his charity programs. The manager's eyes widened. Mr. Hale himself? That's amazing, Maria. You truly deserve it. Her co-workers gathered around, congratulating her. Some clapped, others hugged her. Maria felt emotional. I'll never forget this place, she said softly. It taught me to be strong. Thank you all for being my family. When she left the diner that night, she walked past the same window where Anna used to sit. The reflection of the streetlight shone on the glass, and for a moment she remembered all the days she had seen that little girl waiting there. Now everything had changed. The next morning, Maria visited the shelter home to see Anna. She had already been taken to the hospital for her medical tests, and the doctor said she would recover well with proper treatment. Mr. Hale had kept his promise quickly. He had also arranged for a brand new wheelchair for her. Maria felt happiness rise inside her heart. Seeing Anna smile again was the best gift she could have received. Later that day, Maria moved into a small but clean apartment that Mr. Hale's company had arranged for her. It was not fancy, but it felt like a palace compared to her old room. There was sunlight in the windows, a soft bed, and a feeling of peace she had never known before. As she sat by the window, she thought about everything that had happened in the past 24 hours. Yesterday, she was a poor waitress feeding a hungry child. Today, she had a new home, a new job, and a new purpose. Life had changed completely because of one act of kindness. In the evening, her phone rang. It was Mr. Hale's assistant, Peter. Good evening, Miss Maria. Mr. Hale asked me to remind you that your first training session will begin next Monday. He also wants to meet you and Anna again for dinner tomorrow night. Maria thanked him warmly. Please tell Mr. Hale I'll be there. And thank you for everything you've done. After hanging up, she looked out the window at the city lights. She thought about her future and how she could now help others like Anna. For the first time in her life, she felt hope brighter than ever before at that same moment. Mr. Hale sat in his study, reading a report about the new charity program. His mind was calm. He felt peace knowing that he had chosen the right person. In Maria, he saw honesty, strength, and love. He knew she would change many lives, just as she had changed one child's life by feeding her outside a small diner. That night, both Maria and Anna slept peacefully. Their lives were no longer filled with fear or hunger. The world had opened its arms to them. And though they did not know what the future held, one thing was clear. Kindness had changed everything. A new chapter began in Maria's life. For the first time in years, she woke up without the noise of the diner or the worry of unpaid bills. The sunlight that entered her small but clean apartment felt like a gift. She stood by the window looking at the sky and thanking God silently for all that had happened. Her heart was filled with hope, but she also felt nervous about her new responsibility. She got ready neatly, wore a simple dress, and went to meet Anna at the hospital. The young girl was sitting by the window in her new wheelchair, holding a sketchbook and smiling. Her face looked brighter and healthier. Maria, she said with excitement, the doctors said my legs are getting stronger. Maybe I'll be able to walk again someday. Maria's eyes softened. That's wonderful, Anna. I'm so happy for you. You'll see, your life is going to be full of colors and dreams now. Anna showed her a new drawing. It was a picture of a waitress giving food to a girl in a wheelchair, with a bright sun in the background. Under it, she had written, "Kindness can change everything." Maria smiled proudly. That's beautiful, Anna. You'll be an artist one day, I'm sure of it. Later that day, Maria went to Mr. Hale's office for her training. The staff welcomed her warmly, but she still felt shy and unsure. The office was big, filled with people working on computers and phones. A young woman named Clara was assigned to train her. Clara was smart and polite, but also very serious. Mr. Hale believes in you, Maria, Clara said as she guided her to a desk. You'll be helping organize the charity projects. That means visiting poor families, arranging food donations, and making sure every child in need is cared for. It's not easy, but it's important work. Maria nodded firmly. I'll do my best. Days passed and Maria started learning new things. She learned how to manage reports, talk to people in need, and visit schools that received donations from the charity. She worked with honesty and care, and soon many staff members began to admire her gentle nature. She always treated everyone with respect, from the janitors to the senior officers. One day, Mr. Hale called her to his office. "Maria," he said with a smile, "I'm proud of how well you've started. I have another task for you. I want you to lead a small project in the north side of the city. It's a poor area and the children there need help. You'll have to visit them, talk to the community, and plan how to improve their school." Maria was surprised but grateful. "Thank you, sir. I'll do my best." The next morning, she traveled to the north side with 2 volunteers. The streets were narrow and many houses were broken. Children played barefoot near muddy paths. When they saw the visitors, they ran over, curious and smiling. Maria spoke to the local teacher, a tired woman who had been running the school alone. The classroom had broken desks and faded books. The children had bright eyes but no proper supplies. Maria spent the whole day there talking to families, taking notes, and promising to help. She listened to everyone with patience and wrote down what was needed most: books, food, uniforms, and clean water. When she returned to the office, she stayed late into the night preparing a full report. Clara noticed her dedication. "You work so hard, Maria. Most people would have stopped long ago." Maria smiled softly. "When you've seen hunger and pain yourself, you can't rest until others stop suffering too." A few days later, the charity launched a campaign to support the Northside School. The response was huge. Donations poured in, and Mr. Hale personally visited the area with Maria to see the changes beginning to take place. The children welcomed them with songs and handmade thank you cards. Mr. Hale was deeply moved. "You've done a wonderful job, Maria," he said proudly. "You're not just managing a project, you're giving hope to people who had none." Maria's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, sir, for believing in me. I'll never forget what you did for me and Anna." But not everyone in the office was happy about her success. One of the senior employees, Mr. Grant, had been in the company for years. He was proud and jealous. He could not understand why a simple waitress had been given such a big role. One afternoon, while Maria was in the field, Mr. Grant went through her files and found a small mistake in the expense report. It was nothing serious, just a wrong entry made by one of the volunteers, but he saw it as a chance to harm her reputation. He took the file straight to Mr. Hale. "Sir, I think Maria has mishandled funds. You should look into this," he said sharply. Mr. Hale frowned slightly. "Are you sure, Grant? That doesn't sound like her." "I'm certain," Grant replied. "She's inexperienced. Maybe she isn't ready for this job." Mr. Hale decided to call Maria in. When she arrived, she saw both men waiting for her. She felt nervous as Mr. Hale handed her the report. "Maria, can you explain this?" Maria looked at the papers carefully and noticed the mistake immediately. "Sir, this was not intentional. One of our volunteers entered the wrong number. I take full responsibility and I'll fix it right now." Mr. Hale watched her calmly. "I know you didn't mean to do anything wrong, Maria, but I wanted to see how you handle mistakes. Everyone makes them, but not everyone accepts them." Maria nodded humbly. "Thank you, sir. I'll be more careful." After she left, Mr. Hale turned to Grant. "I appreciate your concern, but next time please remember that leadership is not about finding faults in others. It's about helping them grow." Grant's face turned red. He realized that his jealousy had only made him look small. Later that evening, Mr. Hale called Maria again. "Maria," he said kindly, "you handled the situation with honesty. That is what makes you different. Never lose that quality." Maria thanked him and returned home feeling emotional. She sat near the window watching the city lights. She thought about how quickly her life had changed, but also how important it was to stay true to herself. The next day, Anna was discharged from the hospital. Her health had improved and she could move her legs slightly with therapy. Mr. Hale had arranged for her to join a special art school. When Maria saw her new uniform and school bag, she couldn't stop smiling. Anna hugged her tightly. "Maria, everything is changing. I'll study hard and make you proud." Maria kissed her forehead. "You already make me proud, Anna." Weeks passed and the charity program under Maria's care grew stronger. More people began volunteering, inspired by her story. Newspapers wrote about the woman who had once been a waitress but now led a foundation helping hundreds of children. Mr. Hale often watched her from his office window with quiet admiration. He saw in her the spirit of compassion that the world needed more of. He also saw in Anna the hope of a brighter generation. As the year went on, Maria became a symbol of kindness in the city. People recognized her not for her wealth or position but for her heart. She often said, "A single meal shared with love can change more lives than money ever could." But even as happiness surrounded her, Maria knew life always had new tests. She didn't know that one such test was waiting just around the corner, one that would show how strong her faith in kindness truly was.